He kept a woman in a glass cage in the basement of a bookstore, and the whole time, he believed he was the good guy, the only one who ever really loved her. His name is Joe Goldberg, bookstore manager, soft voice, cardigan, rescues the kid next door from a violent stepfather. He also learns your address before he learns your name and narrates every second of it to you as a love story. He isn't lying to you. He means every word. That's the disguise. You're in the dark psychology vault. Let's take him apart. So stay with me, because this isn't a recap. I'm going to open the vault on him. The two signals that build the trap, the defense against each one, and the thing underneath that almost everyone misses. And you don't need to have watched a single episode, because the man running Joe's playbook tonight isn't on Netflix. He's texting someone right now in a city like yours, and she thinks she just met the love of her life. You'll call it connection. He calls it a profile, and he won't scare you. He'll feel like relief. What he does has a name: manufactured fate. He doesn't fall for you. He studies you, then hands you the one version of a man you were never trained to refuse. Yourself reflected back. It isn't romance. It's assembly. And if you've ever defended someone while your whole body was screaming, you weren't naive. Your radar failed for a reason nobody tells you. A lie has tells. Sincerity doesn't. Joe is sincere. You weren't fooled by an act. You were fooled by a man who meant it. The cardigan, the rescued kid, the soft voice, none of that is an act. He was the child nobody came for. And in his mind, he isn't the villain of this story. He's the hero, the only one who truly sees her. Here's the wound. When Joe was 9, he shot the man who was hurting his mother. And she looked at him and said, "You're a good boy, Joey. It was just an accident." And then she gave him away. Sit with that, because it's the whole man. In one afternoon, he learned 2 things. 1, the worst thing you ever did can be renamed into love if you tell it right. That soft voice narrating his crimes to you, it's hers. 2, being told you're good doesn't stop anyone from leaving. So Joe stopped trying to be lovable and started making himself necessary. He isn't Littlefinger. He isn't Margot. Joe wants one person completely. Let's open the vault. Signal 1, the pre-assembled soulmate. Humans bond through disclosure. Over time. Manufactured fate skips the layers. He arrives holding the finished picture, so the bond feels ancient in week 1. But here's the half nobody explains. Why does he gather instead of ask? Because in the house Joe grew up in, asking was what got you hurt. His father burned him with a cigarette to make him tell the truth about his mother. In that home, truth was never given. It was extracted. So Joe never learned to ask a woman who she is. He learned to find out without her knowing. To him, surveillance isn't creepy. It's the polite version. In his head, he already did the getting to know you. Alone. Out of love. In the show, he learns her name off a credit card, her address by walking home behind her, her dreams, her wounds, her taste in music, handed to him for free on her own social media. Then he becomes it. Notice he never says, "I want her." He says, "She needs me." Need is the only love Joe trusts, because being loved didn't keep his mother in the room, but being needed might. In your life, he read 2 years of your posts before the first coffee, so he arrives already knowing. And that's why it isn't your fault. Love bombing doesn't feel like manipulation. It feels like finally being chosen. Your defense is one line. Fate doesn't do homework. Watch the calendar, not the feeling. Slow it down by a week. Someone building intimacy will wait. Someone installing dependency can't, because the rush is the entire mechanism. The anchor, love that has to happen fast, isn't love in a hurry. It's a trap with a deadline. Signal 2, the fogged mirror. The first move adds him impossibly fast. The second subtracts everyone else. The people around you are your mirrors. They notice you got quieter, smaller, more careful about what you say out loud. Isolation was never about loneliness. It's about removing every surface that could show you your own reflection. And on his side, here's the detail that unlocks the entire character. That glass cage in the bookstore basement, Joe didn't invent it. He was raised in it. The man who took him in, Mooney, was a former prison guard who locked the boy in there for hours to teach him lessons and told him he was doing it out of love. A door closed, a lock turned, and a grown man said the word love. That was Joe's first education in being cared for, and the cage was never built for people. It held the rare books, the valuable things, too precious to leave out where the world could damage them. That's exactly how he sees you. He doesn't think he's imprisoning anyone. He thinks he's putting you where the precious things go, which is why it never arrives as control. It arrives as care. That friend doesn't treat you right. Let's just stay in tonight. Just us. Nobody fights. People simply stop being in the frame until you're not sure what you saw with your own eyes. He isn't taking your world away to punish you. In his mind, he's protecting the book from the room. So here's the question I want you to sit with. Who have you stopped calling since he arrived? Not who did he forbid. Nobody forbade anything. Who just faded? Your defense. Measure the room, not the romance. Don't audit how much he loves you. Audit how many people are left. And the moment you start managing what you reveal to your own partner in order to stay safe, you already have your answer. That's not a rough patch. That's a hostage negotiating. The anchor. Healthy love expands your world. A trap shrinks it and calls the shrinking closeness. Now the part almost everyone misses. Watching Joe, it's easy to think he's obsessed with her. He isn't. Underneath the devotion, Joe is not in love. He is terrified, and feel the weight of that because it's real. A 9-year-old did the most extreme thing a child can do to protect his mother, and she called it an accident and handed him to the state. Then he was passed to a man who locked him in a glass box and called it love. Nobody taught Joe how to be close to a person. They taught him how to hold one. So when he traps a woman, he isn't inventing cruelty. He's rebuilding the only room where anyone ever told him he was loved. And here's what matters more. That's not an excuse. It's the engine. Because a wound explains a man. It never contains him. And the thing Joe is running from isn't going to happen. It already did. He was 9. It's over. No woman can fix it. Every woman is just a retake of the same scene, hoping this time she stays, which is why the ending is always the same. The moment she becomes a real person, her own friends, a life that doesn't require him, she stops being the rescue. She becomes the mother, and he punishes her for a betrayal that happened decades before she walked in. And here's the cruelest part. His terror is exactly what produces the intensity. The desperation is the butterflies. Nobody healthy loves you that hard, that fast, because a person who is okay does not need to, which is how you spot him early. Watch what happens when you're unavailable. A secure person is mildly disappointed. This one punishes or panics or goes cold, then extra warm to reel you back. To him, your distance is the abandonment he's been bracing for his entire life. And you were never reading a man. You were reading a script he's been running since he was 9. If any part of this landed too close, drop the word mirror in the comments. One word, so I know it reached you. 2 things to take out of the vault tonight. 1. Fate doesn't do homework. When someone knows you before you told them, that isn't destiny. That's research. 2. A wound explains a man. It never contains him. You can understand exactly why he became this and still refuse to be the room he locks. You are not the ending to someone else's childhood. And stop reading moments. Read the pattern. You don't beat a Joe Goldberg by becoming cold. Paranoia isn't safety. It's just a smaller cage that you build yourself. You can feel sorry for the boy in the basement. Just don't move into the cage with him. This doesn't feel safe is a complete sentence. The people who get out aren't the ones who caught him in a lie. They're the ones who finally believed themselves. Next, the vault opens the scripts. The words manipulators use to make you doubt your own memory. Subscribe, and I'll see you when it opens. And if it reached you, you already know the word. Mirror. The knowledge was locked. Now it's yours.